In order to start working on the other side that will be asymmetrical, I'm going to mirror over this arm using the Create Symmetry button. That'll conform all the vertices on one side of the x-axis to any part of the reference mesh that it can find on the other side. Now I have a basic outline that I can begin building the asymmetrical upper body with. Now that we have reached the face, I want to stop and explain some theory. The face is one of the most complex deforming areas on a character. It has lots of muscles working on the surface, and for it to animate well, it needs to follow some general guidelines in order to deform. The most important thing to keep in mind is edge loops. We need to find ways of supporting the movements that a face can make in important areas. Creating loops around the eyes and mouth is the best way to do this, due to the fact that the eyes and mouth are themselves sphincter muscles. They work in a circular fashion. Now, one issue is that triangles can be bad for deformation since they have a tendency to neutralize an edge loop, and smoothing can be a problem. Instead, we use 5-point intersections to maintain all the edge loops and keep them working together. 5-point intersection is, as it sounds, a place where instead of 4 edges coming together into one vertice, 5 edges come together. We want to try and put the 5 points in places on the face that they won't create odd shading areas when they deform edge loops, as the edge loops are the ones that should be compressing and expanding. We want to put the 5 points in places that support that compression and stay out of the way. There's a few spots where you can commonly find 5-point intersections. There's usually 2 in the middle of the head by the eye, one above the eye and one just below the eye. There's another on the outside of the cheek somewhere, typically. And then there's usually one just below the nose. This is obviously just a general rule, and there are many different setups. So I encourage you to look at some more topology reference and find out what works best for what your character's needs are. I'm merely giving a general example that seems to be the most versatile setup. So similar with the other parts of the body, I set out first by creating a large sort of scaffold mesh just to keep me aware of where I'm going and where I eventually want to end up. Once our first loop for the eye is in place, you can start to see this theory put into practice. We can at this point insert as many edge loops as we want, and every single one will help give clarity to the shape, whichever that may be, if the eye is squinting or wide open. Now I'm beginning to draw out the loop for the mouth, which will run usually from the nose down. Once you've laid down a general flow for your topology, you can use the relax tool to help you spread them out evenly. Just select the entire shell and then hit deselect shell border, and now hit relax or use the hotkey R. And this will spread out all of your vertices in an even fashion all over the mesh. You want to make sure the distribution of the vertices is even like this, because any vertices that are too close to each other could cause artifacts and problems when animated. However, don't just use relax without being aware of where it's putting your vertices. Sometimes you might find that you lose the lines that you created, and you need to adjust them manually back into place.